So let's start with you just explaining what Meta Peace Team is.
All right. Well, um, literally 30 years ago next month, um, some a Catholic priest named Father Peter Doherty and a wonderful man who described himself as a Quaker atheist, Yashu Milanowski, had just returned from Bosnia for the Sarmata, I think it was called. It was supposed to be a way that they thought they could help stop the bombings by literally having internationals from all over the world show up, and that the world wouldn't want to bomb innocent people. And they did have some success in helping protect, some of the humanitarian aid convoys that were going in, that kind of stuff. But what they came back recognizing was that there was all these great people there from all over the world with wonderful intentions, but no idea on how to de-escalate a violent situation. And it occurred to them that if we're going to do this, we need to teach people how to de-escalate violent situations. And so it started out with an international focus. And I think some of the first peace teams were like in Chiapas, Mexico, and Iraq. And we got, I guess this was before my time, pushback from people in the community who were saying, well, there's all this violence here. Why aren't you doing anything in the United States? And Peter and Yashu, I think, had taken a lot of their direction from things like Christian peacemaker teams. That's they were referred to at that time, and Peace Brigades International. It was just in the beginning, opening phases of starting to talk about nonviolent peace force, and all of those organizations had very internationally focused projects. And so they thought, well, even if people don't do formal, quote unquote, peace work here in the United States, giving people the skills to de escalate a violent situation just makes sense. And so over the course of 30 years, it has evolved into our work being what we refer to as the four pillars. And the first is educating the public to the efficacy of nonviolence, because I think people think it's a great idea, but it doesn't work. It could never, it's pie in the sky. And we have the research now. I mean, probably the most accessible point to get that would be Erica Chenoweth and Maria Stefan's book, Why Civil Resistance Works. But the statistical proof that it works not only well, but in the long run, better than violence does in maintaining democracy and maintaining environment, in keeping people safe and less likely to have harm. We think it's important for people to know that we're not people standing on a corner singing kumbaya with a tin can hoping for the world to change, that we're invested in the research and strategies of how this works, and then offering to the public, and the public meaning anyone who's interested, the skills of violence de-escalation. So some of that has to do with basic communication skills, and some of it has to do with body language, and some of it is very specific techniques, and all of it is to maintain the integrity of the individual and of yourself. So there's no BSing in this. And then once people have those skills, they're invited to join organized teams, peace teams, both internationally. So right now our biggest focuses are on Palestine, Israel, and at the US-Mexico border, but we've been all over the world, and only at the invitation of the communities or the people affected. And we have, I can't even tell you how many domestic teams, meaning within the borders of the United States. And those can be anything from an hour, 2 hours, where somebody's giving a presentation and they're afraid there could be violence, to, a couple weeks. Sometimes our work at the border is more short-term work. doing protective accompaniment for people, for example. So we've got learning the efficacy of nonviolence, learning the skills of nonviolence, and learning and being able to place teams where invited to help curtail violence. But we know, if you are familiar with Michael Negler's model of a roadmap to a just world, it's almost like a pie, that the things that make up a just, peaceful, sustainable world, what Dr. King might refer to as the beloved community, which also includes our environment, is a huge swath of different discrete skills and gifts and ways of interacting, and that we are going to make sure that we are the best at our little slice of that pie, that we will do the best we can in that. But we love and appreciate and have as our fourth pillar active support for the other slices of that pie, the other organizations that are doing the work, so that we might not be able to do something specifically to convince people to stop using plastic straws because of their impact on the environment. It's not really our niche, but we can definitely help support something like, say, the Sierra Club or the Nature Conservancy by saying, oh, well, if you have an event going on, we can put that out on our listserv, or we can make sure people know about it. And we can make sure we don't double book one of our events on the date of your big event. And so MPT has been doing that for 30 years. And probably the trickiest part about it, as you can probably imagine, is that the people most often impacted and affected by violence are also people who don't have a lot of economic means. And we never turn anybody away for inability to pay. And we never charge for the peace teams that we place. And in fact, peace team members fundraise on their own to get to those places. So our biggest struggle is, and we've made it for 30 years, is truly being a grassroots in the best sense of that word. Not so much that it's small, but that it's close to the earth, which is close to the people.